Sarah Ferguson was once among the most photographed women in Britain, a figure who seemed to embody energy, warmth, and royal glamour. Her presence in public life felt larger than life, from grand ceremonies to casual appearances that still drew enormous attention. But time, experience, and personal challenges have reshaped how the world sees her and how she sees herself. When she appeared at Wimbledon Championships in 2025, the conversation wasn't just about recognition, but about resilience. What people witnessed wasn't simply change, but a life lived through highs and lows, now carried with quiet strength. Her journey reflects something deeply human: how identity evolves under pressure, how public figures are often misunderstood, and how survival itself becomes a kind of reinvention. Behind headlines and speculation lies a more personal story, one of endurance, reflection, and the search for stability after years of turbulence, childhood between privilege and pressure. Born in London in 1959, Sarah Ferguson grew up surrounded by privilege that felt ordinary to her at the time. Her father's close ties to royal circles meant she was often near the world she would later marry into. Life in the countryside was structured, active, and centered around horses, which became her early passion. Riding gave her confidence and a sense of independence that shaped her personality. Yet even within this seemingly ideal environment, there were pressures, expectations to perform, to belong, and to carry herself with confidence beyond her years. Her early exposure to elite society taught her how to navigate complex social spaces, but it also created an unspoken need to constantly prove herself. This mix of comfort and expectation formed the foundation of her character, one that would later be tested in ways she could never have imagined. A turning point in family life. Her childhood shifted dramatically when her parents separated during her early teens. The emotional impact of that moment stayed with her for years, shaping how she viewed relationships and stability. The distance that followed, especially with her mother moving abroad, created a sense of loss that lingered quietly beneath her outward confidence. For a young girl used to a structured life, the sudden change brought confusion and emotional strain. These experiences didn't define her entirely, but they influenced her decisions and reactions later in life. It's often in these early moments that resilience begins to take root, even if it isn't visible at the time. For Sarah, this period marked the beginning of a deeper emotional journey, one that would later intersect with the intense scrutiny of public life and the expectations that came with it. Finding her own path early. Unlike many who grow up around privilege, Sarah Ferguson did not follow a traditional academic path. She left school early and entered the workforce with practical skills rather than formal achievements. Her early jobs were modest, grounded in everyday responsibilities that contrasted sharply with the world she had grown up around. These experiences gave her a sense of independence and adaptability, qualities that would later become essential. While she may not have followed a conventional route, she developed a resourcefulness that helped her navigate both opportunity and hardship. It's easy to overlook this phase of her life, but it reveals an important truth. Her story isn't just about royalty. It's about learning to stand on her own feet long before the world began watching her every move. A royal romance rekindled. Her connection with Prince Andrew began in childhood, but took on new meaning years later. Their relationship developed quickly, capturing public attention almost instantly. When they became engaged in 1986, it felt like the beginning of a modern royal love story, one filled with excitement and optimism. The public embraced her personality, which felt open and relatable in contrast to the more reserved tone often associated with royalty. Their wedding at Westminster Abbey became a global event, watched by millions. In that moment, Sarah stepped fully into royal life, gaining not only a title, but also the immense responsibility and scrutiny that came with it. It was a transformation that would shape the next chapter of her life in profound ways. Life inside the royal spotlight. Becoming the Duchess of York brought visibility on a scale few can truly understand. Every gesture, every decision, and every appearance was observed and analyzed. Sarah Ferguson brought energy and warmth to her role, but the constant attention also created pressure. Balancing public duties with personal life proved challenging, especially with the demands placed on royal families. Her openness, which had initially drawn people to her, sometimes clashed with expectations of formality. This tension highlighted the difficulty of maintaining authenticity within a highly structured institution. For Sarah, royal life was both an opportunity and a challenge, a space where she could connect with people, but also one that required careful navigation to avoid criticism. Motherhood and personal strain. The arrival of her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, brought joy and purpose to her life. Motherhood became a grounding force, offering moments of normalcy amid public attention. However, balancing family life with the demands of royal expectations was not easy. Long periods of separation due to royal duties added strain, and the pressures of constant media coverage made private moments feel rare. Like many parents, she navigated the challenges of raising children while managing her own emotional well-being. This period revealed a more personal side of her story, one that goes beyond headlines and focuses on the everyday realities of family, responsibility, and connection. Public scrutiny and media pressure. The media attention surrounding Sarah Ferguson was intense and often unforgiving. Headlines focused not only on her actions, but also on her appearance and personal life. This level of scrutiny can shape how a person is perceived, sometimes overshadowing their intentions or achievements. Over time, the pressure became difficult to manage, contributing to a growing distance between her and the royal institution. Public figures often face this kind of challenge, where their identity is shaped as much by media narratives as by reality. For Sarah, this period marked a turning point, highlighting the cost of living under constant observation. A changing public image. Public perception of Sarah Ferguson has evolved over time. Once defined by headlines and controversy, she is now increasingly seen through the lens of resilience and growth. Her appearances, including at Wimbledon championships, reflect not just physical change, but emotional strength. The conversation has shifted from judgment to curiosity, from criticism to recognition of her journey. This transformation highlights how public figures can redefine themselves, even after years of scrutiny. It also reminds us that people are more than the narratives created about them. Letting go of old identities. At various points, Sarah has had to let go of roles and titles that once defined her. These changes can be difficult, especially when they are tied to identity and belonging. Yet they also create space for growth and self-discovery. Letting go does not mean losing oneself. It often means finding a new version of who you are. For Sarah, this process has been ongoing, shaped by both personal choices and external circumstances. It's a reminder that identity is not fixed. It evolves with experience. Strength in quiet reinvention today. Sarah Ferguson represents a quieter kind of strength. Her story is no longer just about royal life or public controversy, but about resilience, adaptation, and the ability to move forward. She continues to engage with the world on her own terms, focusing on causes and projects that matter to her. Reinvention does not always come with dramatic announcements. Sometimes it happens gradually through choices made day by day. Her journey reflects this quieter transformation, one that values stability, purpose, and authenticity over spectacle. A story still being written. The life of Sarah Ferguson is far from complete. Like anyone, she continues to evolve, shaped by new experiences and challenges. What makes her story compelling is not just the events themselves, but the way she has navigated them. From privilege to pressure, from public scrutiny to personal growth, her journey reflects the complexity of a life lived in the spotlight. It reminds us that behind every headline is a human story, one that deserves understanding as much as attention.